Disney television animation has had a strong crop of shows lately, and one that's certainly made an impression is Amphibia. Set in a world populated with talking frogs, it was created by Matt Braley, who was previously a director and writer on shows like Gravity Falls and Big City Greens. With Amphibia, Braley and his team showcase a lot of imagination and winning humor as a 13-year-old girl named Anne Boonchoi is magically transported to this other world. She meets and befriends the Planter family, who help her on her journey to try and find her friends and return home. Amphibia does such a lovely job of the world building and giving us an idea of how this society functions. A lot of thought has clearly been put into the history of Amphibia and the various types of frogs and toads who reside there. While many episodes involve Anne getting into hijinks that go wrong and then learning some kind of lesson, it does not feel like the stories are too formulaic. It helps that Anne does go through some development and growth over the course of the series as she learns how to be more responsible while not losing that sense of wonder and curiosity. The friendship she forms with the Planters, especially Sprig, is really nice to see, and there's a lot of humor born out of the frogs learning about human customs and vice versa. I love that most of the first season consists of hanging out in the town of Wartwood and getting to know the residents. However, there's also a continuing mystery surrounding the box that brought Anne and her two friends, Sasha and Marcy, to Amphibia. Braley and the writers successfully weave the individual episodes with the overall arc of the show. I know and understand why the serialized television show is popular right now, but that has also led to episodes not related to the overall narrative being seen as insignificant. Amphibia does have a serialized format, but I also like how, in the first season in particular, it's willing to have episodes that focus on a specific issue facing Anne and the Planters that is not related to the grander story. Those have value too, and Amphibia provides a good mix of those sorts of episodes alongside ones that progress the narrative. The series will also sometimes make callbacks to those seemingly filler episodes, and they're important for the overall pacing of the series. One of my favorite episodes of Amphibia is one where Wartwood becomes a little too invested in a romantic movie Anne has downloaded on her phone. It's a hilarious take on inner fandom rivalries and provides a fun one-off story. The humor is on point through most of the series, relying on a great variety of visual and verbal gags. I also love the contrast between Anne's more technology-raised mind and the agricultural sensibilities of the Planters. In addition to the writing, the voice acting also elevates the show. Brenda Song, who's long had an association with Disney, was a great choice to voice Anne, giving her the right level of energy and warmth. Bill Farmer, who is most known as the voice of Goofy, got the opportunity to do a completely different voice as Hop Hop Planter, and he got some big laughs from his performance. However, when he has to depict the character's more emotional and thoughtful side, he delivers on that front too. It's also great hearing actors like Jack McBrayer, Stephen Root, Keith David, Anika Noni Rose, John DiMaggio, Tony Hale, Katie Crown, and RuPaul show up. One of the most delightful guest appearances is from Muppet performer Matt Vogel, who of course plays a character inspired by Kermit the Frog. It's a Disney show with frogs. Why wouldn't they get the world's most beloved frog to be on it? Disney even made a wonderful promotional video that showed Kermit being a creative consultant on Amphibia. While the show is largely comical, it does go for heavy drama at times, and those stakes do feel earned. Over the course of the series, the writers were able to nicely flesh out the characters, showing both their positive qualities and their flaws. One of the most interesting developments comes from Sasha. She is depicted as controlling and manipulative and not the best friend for Anne, and one does root against her when she aligns with the Toads. However, the show eventually shows her learning and changing for the better. Marcy, too, is shown to have her own problems and is partly to blame for why the three girls wind up in Amphibia. She, too, learns some lessons along the way. It's not unusual for someone to feel an incredible amount of regret for their past actions and attempt to change, and it's nice that the show depicted that with these three characters. A lot of what happens to them is not just due to their specific personality traits, but also where they ended up landing in Amphibia. Had Marcy landed in Wartwood and Sasha in the city of Newtopia, the course of events and decisions they made would have likely gone very differently. Braley and his team sought to raise the stakes of the series, and Disney even found one particular episode to be so intense for young children they put a disclaimer at the start. Said episode has a moment so shocking and unexpected, especially for a Disney animated series, it actually made me gasp. Because they're able to make the viewer invested in the fate of Amphibia and what happens to these characters, those dramatic scenes hit that much more. It's an incredibly appealing show in the animation and art departments too. The character designs have a wonderful distinct quality to them, and I love how all the amphibians on the show have their own recognizable qualities that help each of them become memorable. The setting has an inviting quality, but also a dangerous one at times. The animation team did a terrific job of changing the lighting depending on the mood of the scene, especially during the darker moments. The character animation similarly deserves praise. There's a bouncy quality to the way several of them move, and the action sequences are also superbly done. There are key moments when the animation is made more fluid and that only heightens the significance of those scenes. Another element I appreciate about Amphibia is how it incorporates Thai culture into Anne's story. Lately in animated series, creators have been allowed to incorporate more of their own background and experience into the stories they create. Matt Braley is half Thai and has talked about how there were lack of Thai characters in the Western media he watched growing up. So with Amphibia, he got the opportunity to create a series of a Thai protagonist. Anne was even based on his grandmother, and her experience of learning and understanding the customs of Amphibia was similar to what happened to Braley when he first visited Thailand. When the third season of the show takes the characters to the human world, more Thai elements are added as we get to know Anne's parents, and the planters learn more about their culture. There's even an entire episode set at a Thai temple, which the show uses as a teaching opportunity. I think it's wonderful we're getting this variety of programming from creators of specific cultures and backgrounds, because contrary to belief, the more specific the characters are, the more universal the story actually becomes. Matt Braley even got his own mother to do the voice of Anne's mother, which is really sweet. She proves to have strong comedic timing, despite having no other acting credits. Part of the fun of these Human World episodes is also the role reversal element. In those episodes, the planters are the visitors and Anne is their guide, and it's funny having them adopt certain traits and also learning about things like supermarkets and shopping malls. However, even during those lighthearted moments, the drama happening in Amphibia is still occurring in the background. What happens in the final few episodes does put the characters in real danger and becomes an exciting way to end the story and conclude the character arcs. Anne is especially faced with a difficult and life-changing choice that beautifully highlights how much she has evolved since she first set foot in Amphibia. Something I did not expect when I first started watching this cute show about a girl and her frog friends was how genuinely emotional it would be near the end. The last episode goes for the heartstrings and absolutely pulls it off, with Anne and Sprig having the most touching moment, and where the characters are taken in the last few scenes is incredibly heartfelt and fits with the overall message of the show. Why does it hit so emotionally hard? That's a credit to Matt Braley and his team, who know how to develop these characters and make you care about them, especially Anne and the planters. They did a lovely job of concluding the story of Amphibia. Over the course of its 3 seasons, Amphibia successfully took us to this new world unlike any other. Matt Braley brought his love for fantasy stories into something that was distinctly his own, and best of all, there's a genuine love for these characters who become fleshed out the more we get to know them. Everyone from the directors, to writers, to storyboard artists, to designers, to animators, to voice actors sought to make something special and found that right balance of humor, warmth, and peril. I think Amphibia fits nicely alongside The Owl House, The Ghost of Molly McGee, and DuckTales as a recent Disney animated show that brought a unique sensibility and burst of excitement to its characters as they faced various challenges. See you next time.